the importance of the big leap, and why people should read it, every so often, a book comes along that doesn't just offer advice, but completely reframes the way we see ourselves and the possibilities of our lives. Gay Hendricks' The Big Leap is one of those books. Its central premise is both startling and liberating. The greatest barriers to our success and happiness are not external, they are internal. We are often our own biggest obstacle. Hendricks introduces us to what he calls the upper limit problem, an invisible ceiling that stops us from fully embracing success, love, creativity, and abundance. We think we want more joy and freedom, yet when life starts to expand in positive ways, something inside us sabotages it. We get sick before a big opportunity. We start unnecessary arguments. We procrastinate, self-doubt, or shrink back just as momentum builds. It's as if we only allow ourselves a certain quota of happiness and fulfillment, and when we exceed it, we unconsciously pull ourselves back down. Why should we read The Big Leap? Because this is not a rare phenomenon, it's universal. Everyone, no matter how talented or accomplished, struggles with this inner thermostat of success. And unless we learn to recognize and dismantle it, we'll keep sabotaging our progress, never realizing our true potential. But Hendricks doesn't leave us with diagnosis alone. He offers a path forward, showing us how to make what he calls the big leap, the bold move from our zone of excellence into our zone of genius. Most of us live much of our lives in competence or even excellence. We're good at what we do, maybe even highly successful, but deep down, we know it's not our deepest calling. The zone of genius is where our unique gifts, passions, and creativity flow effortlessly. It's the space where work feels like play, where time disappears, and where we make our greatest contribution to the world. Imagine what life would be like if you could spend the majority of your time in your zone of genius, doing the work you were born to do, free from self-sabotage, fear, and invisible ceilings. That's the promise of The Big Leap. It's not just about professional success. It's about living fully in alignment with your truest self. This is why the book has resonated so widely, from entrepreneurs to artists, executives to parents, spiritual seekers to everyday dreamers. Its insights cut across industries, roles, and backgrounds. Because ultimately, it addresses the most universal struggle of all, the gap between who we are today and who we could become if we stopped holding ourselves back. We live in a world filled with opportunities for growth and abundance. But if our inner thermostat remains set to just enough, we'll never experience the fullness available to us. Hendricks' work matters because it doesn't just teach us how to succeed, it teaches us how to expand our very capacity for success and joy. Reading The Big Leap is like turning on a light in a room you didn't know was dark. Suddenly, you see the ways you've been limiting yourself, the subtle patterns of fear and sabotage, the moments when you've unconsciously pulled back just as life was inviting you forward. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The book gives you language for an experience we've all felt, and more importantly, it gives you tools to break free. So why should people read it? Because everyone has a big leap waiting. Whether it's finally writing that book, starting that business, embracing a new level of love, or simply living with more joy, we all face the same choice. Stay within the safe limits of good enough, or leap into the limitless possibility of our genius zone. The Big Leap is not just a book, it's an invitation. An invitation to stop playing small, to stop dimming your light, to stop pulling yourself back when life calls you forward. It is a call to courage, to expansion, and to claiming the full measure of who you were meant to be. Who Gay Hendricks is, his life and philosophy. Behind every transformational book is an author whose life embodies the very lessons he teaches. Gay Hendricks, the author of The Big Leap, is not just a writer or psychologist. He is a pioneer in personal growth, a teacher of conscious living, and a man whose own journey reflects the principles of breaking through invisible limits. Born in 1945, Hendricks grew up in Kentucky. His early years were marked by curiosity and an awareness that life had deeper dimensions than what appeared on the surface. This curiosity eventually led him to study psychology at Stanford University, where he earned his PhD in counseling psychology. From the beginning, Hendricks was drawn to exploring the interplay between the mind, the body, and the spirit, a perspective that would later become central to his work. For over 40 years, Hendricks has been at the forefront of personal transformation, writing more than 40 books on conscious living, relationships, creativity, and success. His work is not just theoretical. He has lived it, taught it, and guided countless individuals and organizations through it. Alongside his wife, Kathleen Hendricks, he co-founded the Hendricks Institute, a center dedicated to teaching skills for conscious relationships and expanded creativity. Together, they've influenced thousands of couples and leaders around the world. What makes Gay Hendricks unique is his holistic approach. Many psychologists focus primarily on the mind, but Hendricks integrates the wisdom of the body and spirit. He teaches that real transformation doesn't come from fixing problems at the surface level. It comes from addressing the deeper patterns of fear, resistance, and self-limitation that live within us. This philosophy shines through in The Big Leap, where he reveals how our unconscious upper limits keep us stuck and how aligning with our zone of genius unlocks freedom and flow. Hendricks' philosophy can be summed up in one word: expansion. He believes that our natural state is to grow, love, and create without limits. When we feel stuck, it is not because life has stopped offering possibilities. It is because we have unconsciously capped our capacity for joy and success. His life's work has been to show people how to break through those caps and expand into their full potential. He also emphasizes conscious choice. In his view, every moment is an opportunity to choose openness over fear, curiosity over judgment, creativity over stagnation. This belief is deeply empowering because it shifts the narrative from being victims of circumstance to being creators of our reality. Another hallmark of Hendricks' life is his commitment to relationships. Through his decades of work with Kathleen, he's demonstrated that love is not just about romance, but about conscious partnership, supporting each other's growth, embracing honesty, and living with authenticity. Their marriage itself is an example of what he teaches, that relationships can be a powerful arena for healing, creativity, and mutual expansion. Hendricks' influence extends beyond individual growth to organizations and leaders. He's worked with entrepreneurs, CEOs, and creative professionals, helping them move beyond fear and self-sabotage to operate from their genius zone. His philosophy resonates in boardrooms as much as in therapy rooms because it speaks to a universal truth. Greatness comes when we stop holding ourselves back. What makes Gay Hendricks especially compelling is that he doesn't position himself as a flawless guru. He shares openly about his own fears, struggles, and breakthroughs. This humility allows readers to trust him. He's not preaching from a pedestal. He's walking alongside us, having made his own big leaps and inviting us to do the same. At the heart of his philosophy is this: life is meant to be lived fully, joyfully, and expansively. We each carry unique genius within us, gifts that no one else can offer in the same way. The tragedy is when we dim those gifts out of fear or habit. The triumph is when we dare to embrace them. Gay Hendricks has devoted his life to helping people make that choice. In the end, who is Gay Hendricks? He is a psychologist, a teacher, a husband, an author, and above all, a guide. A guide pointing us past the invisible ceilings we place on ourselves into a life where love, creativity, and success are not capped, but limitless. The purpose of The Big Leap. Every transformational book has a heartbeat, a driving purpose that fuels its words and inspires its readers. For Gay Hendricks, the purpose of The Big Leap was clear: to help people recognize and transcend the hidden barriers that keep them from living in their full potential. Hendricks noticed something remarkable over his decades of counseling, teaching, and coaching. No matter how successful or accomplished people became, they often hit an invisible ceiling. Just as life was expanding a breakthrough in business, a deepening of love, a surge of creativity, they would unconsciously sabotage themselves. Illness, procrastination, conflict, or sudden loss of motivation would creep in, pulling them back to a familiar zone of just enough. He called this the upper limit problem, and the purpose of The Big Leap is to shine a light on it. For most people, the upper limit operates silently, like a thermostat set to keep our happiness and success at a certain level. Whenever life exceeds that setting, we unconsciously cool things down. Hendricks wrote this book to help us see that pattern, dismantle it, and reset the thermostat to allow unlimited joy, love, and abundance. But the book doesn't stop at diagnosis. Its deeper purpose is to guide readers into their zone of genius, the state where we are doing the work we were uniquely designed to do. Hendricks saw that many people spend their lives in zones of competence or excellence. They do their jobs well, even exceptionally, but they don't feel fully alive. They are good at what they do, but it doesn't light them up. The purpose of The Big Leap is to help readers move past those zones into their genius zone, where their deepest passion and unique talent meet, and where time seems to disappear because they are in pure flow. Why does this matter? Because living in the zone of genius is not just about personal fulfillment, it's about contribution. Hendricks believes that each of us carries gifts that the world needs, and when we hold back, the world loses out. His purpose in writing this book is to unleash those gifts, to encourage people not just to survive or succeed, but to thrive in a way that benefits everyone around them. The book also has a spiritual purpose. Hendricks wanted readers to see that expanding into greater love, creativity, and success is not selfish. It's aligned with the deeper flow of life. The universe, he suggests, wants us to grow, to create, to love expansively. The only thing in the way is our own fear of shining too brightly. The Big Leap is about dissolving that fear and choosing expansion over contraction. Another purpose of the book is empowerment. Hendricks doesn't position himself as someone with all the answers. Instead, he offers tools and insights that anyone can apply. The message is clear. You don't need to wait for permission, for the right moment, or for someone else to rescue you. You already have the power to make the leap. The book's purpose is to awaken that power within you. At its core, The Big Leap exists to challenge the lie that we must limit ourselves. It exists to reveal the ways we unconsciously hold back and to provide a roadmap to step beyond those limits. It is an invitation to live not in fear or scarcity, but in freedom and abundance. And perhaps its greatest purpose is hope. Hope that no matter how long we've lived under the ceiling of the upper limit, we can break through. Hope that we can discover and live from our zone of genius at any age. Hope that our best and most fulfilling years are still ahead if we dare to make the leap. The key lessons of The Big Leap, how to apply them, and real-life illustrations. The magic of The Big Leap is that it doesn't just describe the invisible barriers to success, it shows us how to transcend them. Gay Hendricks draws from decades of work as a psychologist and coach to reveal a series of profound lessons that, when applied, can completely reshape our lives. These lessons are not abstract theories. They are practical, personal, and universally relevant. Let's journey through them together. The first and most central lesson is recognizing the upper limit problem. Hendricks explains that every person has an internal thermostat for success, love, and happiness. Imagine a dial inside you, set at a certain level. When things go better than that setting allows, you unconsciously sabotage yourself to bring things back down. Perhaps you've experienced this. You land a promotion and suddenly pick a fight with your partner. Or you achieve a health goal, only to get sick right after. It's not random bad luck, it's the upper limit problem at work. Hendricks' lesson is that awareness is the first step. You cannot change what you don't notice. By learning to spot the patterns of self-sabotage, procrastination, unnecessary conflict, anxiety, or sudden setbacks, you can begin to break free. Once you see the upper limit, the next lesson is to take responsibility for your hidden fears. Hendricks identifies 4 core fears that keep people stuck. The fear of being fundamentally flawed, the fear of disloyalty and abandonment, the fear of outshining others, and the fear of being a burden. These fears often hide beneath the surface, inherited from childhood messages or cultural conditioning. For example, if you grew up believing you weren't good enough, you may unconsciously hold yourself back whenever you start to succeed, afraid of being exposed as inadequate. Or, if you were taught not to outshine siblings, you might dim your light so others don't feel small. The lesson here is liberating. These fears are illusions, not truths. By bringing them to awareness, you can dissolve their grip and expand into greater freedom. The next step in the journey is moving from your zone of excellence into your zone of genius. Hendricks identifies 4 zones in which we operate. The zone of incompetence, where others can do things better than you. The zone of competence, where you can do things well enough, but so can many others. The zone of excellence, where you perform extremely well, often with great success. And finally, the zone of genius, where your unique gifts and passions meet and where your work feels like play. Most people live in the zone of excellence. They are rewarded for it, praised for it, and even well paid for it. But they also feel unfulfilled. Something is missing, because they are not expressing their unique genius. Hendricks' bold lesson is that the real leap to greatness comes when we leave the comfort of excellence and step into genius. This is terrifying, because it means risking the familiar for the unknown, but it is also where true joy and contribution lie. Consider an example. A lawyer who is highly competent and successful, but feels drained. Deep down, her passion is teaching. When she makes the leap into education, she enters her zone of genius. Her work energizes her, her creativity flows, and she makes a greater impact than she ever did in law. This shift doesn't mean her years of excellence were wasted. It means they were preparation for the moment when she dared to leap. How do we access our zone of genius? Hendricks offers practical tools like asking yourself, what do I most love to do? What activities make me lose track of time? What unique gifts do I bring that no one else can bring in quite the same way? These questions open the doorway to genius. And once you find the answer, the challenge is to devote more of your life to it, even if only in small steps at first. Another powerful lesson in the book is learning to live in Einstein time. Hendricks points out that most of us live in what he calls Newtonian time, believing that time is scarce, that we are victims of it, constantly running out of it. This mindset creates stress and limitation. But when we shift into Einstein time, we realize that we are the source of time. Time expands or contracts according to our level of presence and commitment. Think about moments when you are deeply engaged in something you love, time seems to fly. Or when you dread something, time drags. In Einstein time, the key is to take full ownership. Instead of saying, I don't have time, say, I'm not making this a priority. This shift is radical. It transforms us from victims of time to creators of time. Imagine what would change in your life if you saw time not as scarce, but as abundant, flowing from your own choices. Closely linked to this is Hendricks' emphasis on conscious commitment. He teaches that transformation happens when we make powerful commitments and take 100% responsibility for them. No more blaming, no more excuses. If you want to live in your genius zone, you must claim it fully. That doesn't mean everything will be easy, but it does mean that you stop outsourcing responsibility to circumstances and step into your own power as a creator. Hendricks also shows how relationships are arenas where the upper limit problem often plays out. Many couples unconsciously sabotage intimacy when things get too good, starting arguments or withdrawing love. The lesson is to expand our capacity to receive love without fear. When we allow ourselves to feel joy and connection fully, without self-sabotage, relationships become vehicles for healing and expansion. Imagine what your closest relationships could look like if you stopped pulling back just as things became wonderful. Another practical lesson is learning the art of the yes, saying yes to more abundance, more creativity, more love, without shrinking. Hendricks argues that most of us unconsciously say no to opportunities by doubting ourselves or retreating into fear. The big leap is essentially a giant yes. Yes to your genius, yes to your joy, yes to living beyond limits. Throughout the book, Hendricks offers real-life illustrations. He shares stories of executives who left careers in excellence to embrace genius, of couples who broke free of sabotage patterns, of individuals who discovered that by saying yes to their gifts, they unlocked levels of success they had never imagined. These stories remind us that the big leap is not just theory, it is possible. Ultimately, the lessons of the big leap converge into one central truth. The limits we face are self-imposed. The world is not holding us back. We are. And once we see this, the door to freedom opens. The choice then is ours. Will we stay in the comfort of the familiar, or will we leap into the unknown brilliance of our genius zone? This leap is not a one-time event. It is a way of life. Every day offers opportunities to expand or contract, to choose fear or love, to dim or to shine. Each choice pushes us closer to mediocrity or closer to genius. Hendricks challenges us to choose expansion again and again until it becomes our natural way of being. When all is said and done, the big leap is more than a book. It is a mirror, showing us the invisible ceilings we've built within ourselves and an invitation to step beyond them. Gay Hendricks doesn't simply diagnose the upper limit problem. He hands us the keys to unlock it. He doesn't just describe the zone of genius. He urges us to live there. The final takeaway is clear. Greatness is not about talent or luck. It is about capacity. Specifically, our capacity to expand into more love, success, creativity, and joy than we thought possible. The tragedy is not that life denies us. It is that we deny ourselves. The triumph is when we recognize that the only real limits are the ones we've unconsciously accepted and that we can choose to dissolve them. This choice is not hypothetical. It is practical, immediate, and deeply personal. Each of us has a big leap waiting. A step into the work we were born to do, the love we are capable of giving and receiving, the abundance we are ready to embrace. For some, the leap may mean changing careers. For others, it may mean finally writing the book, launching the project, or speaking their truth. For many, it simply means saying yes to joy, allowing life to be better than they ever dared believe. The temptation, of course, is to stay safe, to remain in the zone of excellence, where we are competent, respected, and rewarded, but unfulfilled. To keep the thermostat set to just enough, to accept good when great is calling. But the cost of staying small is enormous. It robs us of aliveness. It robs the world of our unique genius. Hendricks' message is urgent. Now is the time to leap. Not when conditions are perfect, not when you feel fully ready. The leap is made in faith, not certainty. And once you leap, you discover that the safety you sought was never outside of you. It was within you all along, in your ability to expand, adapt, and shine. The beauty of the big leap is that it is not selfish. When you expand into your genius zone, everyone benefits. Your creativity uplifts others. Your joy inspires those around you. Your courage gives others permission to leap as well. Imagine a world where more people lived in their genius zone, doing the work they love, contributing their unique gifts, and living without fear of shining too brightly. That is the ripple effect of one person making the leap. So as we close, the question becomes, what is your big leap? Where have you been holding yourself back? Where have you allowed fear, doubt, or the upper limit problem to keep you small? And most importantly, what would happen if you said yes? Yes to your genius. Yes to joy. Yes to living fully, expansively, without apology. The time to leap is now. The world needs your gifts. Your soul longs for expansion. The only thing in the way is the story that you must stay small, and that story is ready to end. So take the leap. Step into your zone of genius. Live with abundance, with creativity, with fearless love. Because life is too short to settle for anything less than the greatness you were meant for. Subscribe to Awaken Greatness for more inspiring lessons, and comment below to share your thoughts.